Out of all the good boys, only one plays punchies. Quick correction to past gen's deck profile. I realized as I was editing, I left out the egg deck, which is 4 of BT11Wangamon, and the 50th card, which is the one of Ice Wall. Doesn't change anything else going forward with the profile, but yeah, this is me addressing those corrections right now. So for the most part, it is a very straightforward Miragegaoga burst and or Miragegaoga deck list in general. There are a few flex spots I feel that are within the deck, so I took advantage of those for my one tech option to help against certain matchups. So, getting into the list, we are playing 2 copies of the BT11Vmon. It does come up with its inheritable, where when you play a blue tamer, gain a memory. But mostly it's a way for us to just try and dig a little bit down, find some tamers, because tamers are very important for the deck as a whole. Then we are playing a full set of Gaogamon from EX4. The on-play to force both players' draw card can come up to help trigger effects. And then again, when an effect adds cards to your opponent's hand, inheritable, gain a memory. And then, of course, the full set of BT11Gaogamon. The inheritable to bounce to level 3 when you swing. If you're dealing with a memory blocker and you need to gain some memory, you can swing with this in the stack to, bounce that, gain your memory, do whatever you need to do. And then the on-play revealed the top 3 cards, add 1 Digimon with Galga in its name and 1 blue tamer, trash the rest. Sometimes you hit 1, sometimes you hit none, but it feels real good when you hit both. And then to round out our rookies, it's just Solarmon. It's the reason why I said Izzet Miragegaoga. It's just a slight tech option because Royal Knight is a thing, Blue Flare is a thing, Cross Heart is a thing, Death X is a thing. There's a lot of reasons to still want to play the Solarmon. It's just a quick, hey, I'm going to drop this and use that for defenses. Now, going into our level 4s, we're playing 1 Lanamon. We do run a lot of blue tamers, so a hybrid for game, or just to have another level 4. But the hybrid for game is what you're really aiming for. Then 1 BT11Gaogamon. The when attacking once per turn, if your opponent has 8 or more cards, gain a memory. But then the inheritable, if you have a tamer in play, return 1 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand for when attacking. And then we are playing 3 copies of EX4 Gaogamon. When Digivolving, bounce to level 3, and then gain some memory when a card is added to your opponent's hand and heritable. And then to finish off our level 4s, a full set of BT13 Gaogamon. Just the ability to drop the Thomas into play is so helpful. And its inheritable does come up from time to time, of gaining an extra 1000. Now, for our level 5s, we are running 2 copies of BT11 Mock Gaogamon, which has when Digivolving into the end of your opponent's turn, gains blocker, and then 2k for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand, so we can just help be either a decent sized blocker or big enough to where any DP lowering effects you can safely get around, possibly. And then, as is common with the level 5s, it is one of our restanders. When an effect adds a card or cards to your opponent's hand, unsuspend this Digimon inheritable. Pairing that with 2 copies of EX4 Miragegaogamon, which has when Digivolving bounce level 4 or lower, and then is also a restander. When attacking once per turn, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in hand, unsuspend this Digimon. And then a full set of BT13 Miragegaogamon. If you're in a situation where you can get to this, if you're playing against, say, like Miragegaomon, with all of its redirects, this gives you a way to safely swing for game. It's an extra swing, and then has the all turns once per turn. When in effect adds cards to your opponent's hand, unsuspend this, so it's an unsuspender as well. And then for the level 6s, whoops, running 2 copies of Miragegaogamon from a BT13. It has evade, so if you go into it as a way to set up for Mirage Burst turn, and just want to have some protection. It's all turns. When in effect adds cards to your opponent's hand, gets play out of Thomas. Doesn't care if you have one or not, and then when Digivolving, bounce a Tamer. With having the Tamers add cards to hand, that can help trigger the ability to replay a Thomas on your opponent's turn, as well as just giving you the evade primarily. And then a full set of BT11 Miragegaogamon. This is the one you definitely want to be going into. When Digivolving, return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to its owner's hand. If their Digimon was returned by this effect, your opponent adds top card of their security to their hand. So it can strip a security, and then all turns once per turn. When effect adds cards to your opponent's hand, you gain a memory for every 4 cards. That can help mess things up on your opponent's turn. Helps you extend your plays. It can get through security. And then 3 copies of Miragegaogamon and Burst Mode. Can Burst Evolve into a Thomas, or not into a Thomas, by returning a Thomas to hand. When Digivolving, return one of your opponent's Digimon to the hand, and then gain 1 memory for every 4 cards, so more memory gain. And then when attacking, by randomly picking cards from your opponent's hand, if they have 9 or more, until they have down to 8, it can unsuspend. And that is not a once per turn. So if you're in a position where, say, you swing, you strip some cards down, they're down to 8, you can use a Thomas to add some more cards to hand to do it again. And then going on to our Tamers now, running 2 Nikolai. He's there to give jamming at the start of main, as well as being some memory gain when effects add cards to opponent's hand. And then 2 of the memory setter Thomas from BT13. Again, memory setters are very important, but 2 of feels fine. And then your turn, when one of your Digimon with Gaomon or Gaogamon ends name attacks by suspending this Tamer, both players draw 1 card from their decks. So ways to get cards into your opponent's hand, trigger unsuspends and the like. And then 3 copies of Thomas from BT4. On play, trigger draw a card. So more cards to hand. And then main, if your opponent has 8 cards in their hand, you may suspend this Tamer, unsuspend one of your Gaogamon. Or one of your Gaomon, even. Eh. The Tamer lineup, I feel, is pretty fine. You've got the Nikolai for jamming, you've got Thomas's to unsuspend, you've got Thomas's to draw more cards to help kick off plays. Now, to round up, going into our options, we're playing 1 Ice Wall, pretty standard, any blue deck. Security effect, gain 2 memory, and then your opponent, for 1 memory, get locked every time they swing. And then 2 blue memory boosts. When BC14 comes around, the deck will get better, in my opinion, once it gets access to the blue training card. But for now, the blue memory boost serves the same purpose and does just fine. Grabs your Digimon. The reason that the training will be better is for cost of 2, you might only flip 2 instead of 4, but if you see a tamer and need that, you can grab that. And then 2 Sorai. It helps with the Sorp stripping, it helps against Royal Knight, it helps against a few other things to just go, yeah, let's slow that down a bit. But yes, that is the deck, and now for the test shuffle. Alright, so as we've been doing the test shuffle, it's always important to know how a deck can look more so from the hands you get versus seeing the top end, like I've been saying. Plus, it's just better sequencing, you know? I can show you how to do something, or I can show you how I can get there. Anyways. Present for cut. So our starting hand would be Thomas, Gao, Lana, Mirage Burst, and Ice Wall. Honestly, I'd probably keep this. And then we would set our security. Ooh. Now it's looking a little rough. Alright, so let's say that we were on the play. We hatch, we've got our cards in hand. We can safely go ahead and evolve back here. Get a card draw, we've got a mock now. And honestly, probably just pass a 3. Play out a Thomas. Our card drawn off of that would be the Solarmon. Which that just turns into a body to throw away if you're not playing something that it's helpful against. So, you know, our opponent, they do their thing. Let's say they pass back over to 2. Card for turn is a mock. Now it's starting to get a little worrisome. So we promote out. We can try and go for things, and that might be the better thing to do, like give up our hybrid. Yep, this hand is starting to look a little rough. And then pass over to 3. Alright, so this hand could have gotten there, it could not have gotten there. It was starting to look real rough. Now let's see what that mulligan would have looked like. That is the unfortunate side effect of some decks. You play so many things that sometimes you just don't see the line that you need. But when you do, is it nice? Alright. So this time, our hand would have been Sorai, Gao, Mach Galga, Mach Galga, Mach Galga, oh. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, this is, an unfortunate thing. Alright, so we just immediately put our opponent to 3, flipping Galga, Thomas, and Sorai, and start to feel a little bit better, especially since that is the on-evolve. Let's say our opponent doesn't mess with our board at all, they pass us over to 2, we draw a card, because they know that we're going to go into the Galga, which is going to draw this Thomas, but we're going to play out the Memory Setter one, obviously. And then from here, we're still missing a few pieces, so it's probably safe to just pass over to 3, draw a card, and like I said, we're just missing some pieces, got one of them. Opponent's going to do their thing. Let's say they have clear 2 security, pass over, do their thing. They still haven't messed with this yet. Alright, so we evolve back here. We're at 3, we'll go to 0. We'll crack that Mem boost to go up to 2. Evolve into a Miragegaogamon, which we know have some effects to look at. Do we meet anything? Are we able to bounce, continue back the turn? If we're able to continue back turn, then we can swing, have both players draw a card, to unsuspend, swing again, and then do it a 3rd time. And unfortunately, that would be where it would stop. Now, the smart thing to do then would probably start building in the back. There's the burst, because either your opponent's going to take this out and end the game, or they're going to make sure that you don't have this. But yeah, that is the deck. Pretty standard for Miragegaogamon. If you like it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. I'm always open to hear where I can improve. And again, as always, we are live over on Twitch TV/Gentaxis. Come hang out. We play a lot of RPGs, fighting games, and of course, a lot of trading card games. Take care.